Hey guys, first regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about the best Bulwark build for Space Marine 2 patch 12 to absolutely dominate hard stratagems, even some of the custom stratagems, and things like absolute operations. Now, once again, we are using the Power Fist block variant. This weapon is exactly the same as it was in patch 11. It is still one of the best options for any melee weapon in the entire game, if not the single best. And even though the balance option got buffed up, you could use this instead. I'm taking this one today because it still hits the hardest overall. Now, for the perk tree on this, I do take the perk Perpetual Strength first, moving here into the perk Heavy Preparation. Heavy attack preparation times reduced by 30%. This perk is pretty much mandatory on all Power Fists in this game. Without this, your charge attacks just take forever to charge up, so definitely grab this. And also, a 1+ speed here will not affect the charge rate of the base of the Power Fist at all, so you're getting full benefit from the perk. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength, up here into Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. Then I grab the perk here, Focused Intention. When your health is below 30%, you take 50% less health damage while preparing heavy attacks. This perk allows you to trade with your Power Fist, so basically, as you charge up a Power Fist, you'll have this damage reduction go off, because often you'll be shot in the face while you're charging, you'll be attacked while you're charging, but you'll have no knockback active, and you'll be able to stand there and keep charging up your fist, and not just instantaneously die, and then you'll immediately follow up with a charge attack, get them to execute, and then get that execute to have all your HP back. So that's kind of like the whole game plan of this weapon later. Now, next perk here is Tide of Battle. Power wave forward distance increases from 4 to 8 meters. This perk's description is still incorrect in patch 12 here. This is actually 10 to 20 meters. It basically turns your Power Fist charge attacks into a ranged weapon. The next perk here is Following Blow. Back Fist and Back Fist 2 can be performed instantly after a charge thrust jab or hammer hook. This just helps you pick up some breakpoints for an execute. Not the most mandatory perk ever, but I do like it quite a bit. Moving down here into the perk Strength of Will. While performing a heavy attack, you will take 20% less range damage. Just like the perk over here, these do stack together to give you even more damage reduction, so definitely grab this one. And the final two perks are Combo and Majora's Slayer. That's pretty much all there is for the Power Fist setup. Now, for the secondary weapon, we do take the Rate of Fire Plasma Pistol. This is still a top tier option in patch 12. It has amazing CHP regen, amazing stagger, great damage. It does kind of have a shit ammo economy, but that matters way less for us because we do have another ranged weapon basically with the Power Fist. And overall, the CHP regen on this is just really what you want. Now, for the perk tree, you just build all ammo, because ammo perks like Efficient Charge and Plasma Collection, these will just solve most of the major issues of this gun. It's still very ammo hungry, but you won't run out in like 5 shots pretty much. Also, Perpetual Velocity is up here, and having shots charge even faster, that's just like an added boon. Though I will say, if you don't want to take the Rate of Fire Plasma for whatever reason, you could take the Heavy Bolt Pistol on the Ammo Reserve side or the Heroic one and build it like this, but that is up to you. Now, for the perk tree, we do start off with what is probably a top 2, if not top 1 perk in the entire game, Intimidating Aura. A perfect time parry deals area effect damage in a 5-meter radius. The cooldown is 5 seconds. This perk will function on a perfect block, it's just a perfect parry, and the amount of damage this does is kind of staggering. This perk just kind of carries the Bulwark sometimes, or like if you were in a seriously dangerous scenario, you're just dealing free damage for blocking. It's kind of nuts how good this is, and I really think that some of the other perks down here, like For Momentum, might need a bit of a bigger buff, because at the moment, this is just the best option in this column, even though Conviction is also a top tier perk. That's just how strong this is. Next perk here is Scramble Targeting. If you're surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you will take 25% less damage from range attacks. This perk is just free range damage reduction, so I pretty much always pick it up. And the perk up here, Shock and Dodge, doesn't do a ton for us on this build. And the perk here, Armored Contempt, was never that good to begin with. Next perk here is Steel Within. When your health is less than 50%, you will take 30% less health damage. This perk is also incredible. I think this is by far the best perk in this column. Any amount of damage reduction that you add to this class on top of your base HP of having a 30% increase does make your overall effective HP way better. So I think this one is just super powerful. You definitely notice when you have this or Conviction, and since we're taking Intimidating Aura, this is kind of like a no-brainer. Next perk here is Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all team members automatically restore 1 armor segment. This perk is also incredible. It's just a free damage reduction on your class all the time. Pretty much whenever you're slapped in the face on the Bulwark, or like really whenever you're slapped in the face in this game at all, and you have armor remaining in melee, you will take no damage no matter how much armor is actually remaining, even from bosses. So perks like this that give you 8 trip feet every 30 seconds, they're super valuable. Though I will say, if you're like brand new to the game, Advanced Conditioning is probably a better option for you, because CHP management is pretty hard for you if you're like completely new, but Focus Restoration is overall better. Next perk here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies with its area of effect. This perk is still the top tier option on Bulwark. It doesn't really come close. Like, it just is a free shock grenade around your banner all the time. It does completely free damage to Minoris, Majoris, Extremis, and Terminus, and it's just a value perk. And so, honestly, this one gets even better if you take Glory's Shield, but even on Invigorating Icon here, it's still a top tier option. Now, the next perk here is obviously Invigorating Icon. When the banner is activated, all of your team members regain maximum contested health, but recharges 50% more slowly. This is just a full HP heal for your entire team. When you plant down your banner, you will have your CHP bar filled up entirely. All you have to do after that is deal damage to an enemy or execute them. A really simple perk to use, really damn strong, and one of the best really since launch on the game. Next perk here is just for no knockback. This one says after a shield bash, shield rush, or thunder hammer pommel smash, melee damage increases by 15%. You don't lose control of heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Without this perk, you will be slapped around quite a bit. The Power Fist does have built-in no knockback to its charge attack, but having this still helps out. And you also just get like a free range damage buff, or melee damage buff, I should say, so that's pretty nice on top of that. And all you have to actually do to trigger this is just shield bash at all. This map you actually hit a guy whatsoever. As long as you just do a shield bash every 10 seconds, you will have no knockback active, and that's a very strong effect. Next perk here is Defensive Mastery. A person-time parry or block instantly incapacitates a Majoris or Extremis level enemy. The cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is still top tier in patch 12, one of the best perks in the entire game. Having a 90-second cooldown on Extremis kill may not seem like much, but when you're fighting bosses and Extremis is like the only thing between you and actually being able to kill the boss or instantaneously dying to a frame trap, being able to basically just like hit one button and just insta-kill him, that's a top tier option. And in siege mode, if you go up to like wave 30 plus, you're gonna have enemies that have so much damn HP in this game that you can pretty much just save like 3 melta bombs by just parrying them one time. Now, for the prestige perks here, I do take Resilience first. Medicate Sims restore 40% more HP. If you take this perk with the Bulwark's HP perks like Steel Within, you're going to be so damn tanky off a single stim. Like, one stim use is worth so much on a Bulwark because the Bulwark just has such a highly effective HP amount that I think this perk is a pretty great option and super underrated. But if you do want ammo, you could pick this one up instead. Next perk here is Mandatory Overcharge. Held and charged attack damage increases by 20%. This perk is also incredible. The amount of damage this does is just staggering. It's a multiplicative damage increase to your held and charged attack damage, and that's like the most heavy hitting attacks in the game anyways, so definitely pick this one up. And the final two perks are Powerful Shot for more range damage and Masterful Defense, because ability charge getting restored by 1% for every blocked range attack is just a god tier perk as well, because basically all you have to do is just like block a Soul Can Terminator and you'll have an entire Invigorating Icon up again almost, which is really powerful as an effect. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. Hey guys, first regards from here, I'll be talking about a SGT Metaurus Bulwark build for Space Marine 2 patch 12.0 using the brand new buffed Balanced Power Axe. Now, all the balanced weapons in Space Marine 2 patch 12 got a base damage buff. The Balanced Power Axe feels really good for both Horde clear and Majoris killing now, as we're going to be using it today. So for the perk tree here, I do start off with Perpetual Strength first, moving here to the perk Coup de Grace. The last strike of a light combo deals 25% more damage. This helps out a little bit, but you do actually get way more benefit out of this than like the block version, in my opinion, mainly because you have a speed of 6 here versus a speed of 2. And the next perk here is Perpetual Strength again, up here in Perpetual Strength for a 10% melee damage buff. And then I grab the perk here, Patient Stance, into the perk Endless Slash. You can endlessly chain Whirl Slash attacks. Now, normally on a block version, I would go down here for counterattack and riposte. You could still do that on this version, but I actually like taking advantage of the added Horde clear here with the 6 speed, and having endlessly slashing Whirl Slashes here is pretty nice for the Horde clear, so I do actually like building into it up here. Next perk here is Power Strike. Gun Strike from Power Stance deals 20% more damage. Now, once again, unlike the block version, the balanced one does give you opportunities to parry, so more Gun Strike damage can definitely help you kill some Extremis enemies. Now, unfortunately, the counterintuitive thing here is that your intimidating aura is so strong that you will usually just one combo them anyways, but it does help out with Extremis, just maybe not so much Majoris. Next perk here is Power Wave. Power Backstep Wave damages more enemies. Moving down here into the perk Tactical Retreat. Power Backstep deals 25% more damage. Both of these perks are very strong. This perk actually changes the angle of your power backstep to be very similar to a Xenophase Blade, the ancient technology perk. It'll actually allow you to catch things like Zoan Throfs out of the sky sometimes. That is pretty hard to pull off because you do require a parry. That's why I make sure people are aware of that. And the perk down here, I mean 25% more damage on your power backstep. That's just a very strong effect to have. And the final perk is Cleaver for a 10% damage buff against Majora's and higher enemies, which is kind of a catch-all against the enemies you want to kill the most. And that's pretty much all there is for the Power Axe here. Now for the secondary weapon, I do take the Rate of Fire Plasma once again, mainly because we are a Sergeant Metaurus RP build here, so this is non-negotiable. You must take this gun or you are not Sergeant Metaurus. And the Rate of Fire variant is the best in my opinion, mainly because it ups your shot charge speed, which really is the most important stat in this gun anyways. That'll give you better CHP recovery, better stagger, better damage, and overall, I think this is just the best variant in the entire game for Plasma since like patch 9. Now for the perk tree here, we do once again build all ammo economy because even with all like the efficient charge and plasma collection perks, this gun will still chew through ammo, so definitely pick these up. It is a very ammo hungry gun. You also get perpetual velocity up here for even faster charge rate. There really is all upside, and I would build this way on like really any variant. And that's pretty much all there is for the secondary. Now for the Bulwark perk tree, I do start off with the perk Intimidating Aura once again. A perfect time parry deals AoE damage within a 5-meter radius. The cooldown is 5 seconds. This is one of the best core perks in the entire game, and really just one of the best perks, period. The amount of free damage this gives you is tremendous. It also allows you to one combo breakpoint any Majora's in the game for a gunstrike parry, which is really powerful on its own, and a 5-second cooldown is nothing, so definitely pick this up. Next perk here is Shock and Awe. Enemies in a shock area take 25% more damage. The main reason I'm using this perk is because I'm taking emergency countermeasures here. You could take Scramble Targeting instead, or even Armor of Contempt. That is also up to you. I just want to go for something like a little bit different today. Next perk here is Steel Within. When your health's less than 50%, you take 30% less health damage. I talk about this perk all the time as well. A 30% health damage reduction on the Bulwark class is incredibly substantial, mainly because you have a 30% base HP increase on this class for your starting perk, and any HP damage reduction on top of that is going to be really, really effective because of this. So definitely grab this, though you could take Armor Reinforcement if you really wanted to. But I get my armor on this build from the next perk, which is Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all team members automatically restore 1 armor segment. This perk is incredible. Drip-fed armor restore in Space Marine 2 will save your life, and also just helps out teammates like your Tactical or Tech Marine that do really benefit from not getting damage nuked, because the way that armor works in Space Marine 2 is that any amount of armor remaining will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0, even from bosses. So in a class like the Tech Marine or the Tactical that is like the potential territory of getting one shot will really benefit from a damage cap like that, so definitely pick this up. Next perk here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies in its area of effect. This is just a free value perk for your banner. You put this down, you will wipe out Minours. It is basically another shock grenade. Really good option. Next perk here is Glory Shield. All team members in the banner's area of effect take 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. I love this perk. I talk about this one all the time as well. I think more banners is way more fun than having fewer banners like heals attached to them. Being able to just like plant down your chapter banner more often is just really going to fit into the gameplay loop of the Bulwark more in the first place, so I prefer this one. Though you could definitely pick this up if you want to. Next perk here is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunder Hammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%, and you do not lose control of heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is the main form of no knockback on this build. All you have to do to trigger this is just Shield Bash the air. You don't actually have to hit anybody, and just keep in mind you can't reapply the effect until the initial 10 seconds are up, so just make sure you're aware of that. Final perk here is Emergency Countermeasure. When your armor is fully depleted, a reserve shock grenade automatically detonates at your position. The cooldown is 45 seconds. Back in like patch 11, they buffed this to have a cooldown of 45 seconds instead of 90, and since then, it's been a pretty powerful option. Really good as like a squid inking grenade, where you just like, you get your ass blasted basically by a chaos spawn, you drop a shock grenade down, you get the bonus damage from this, and it's pretty damn powerful. I do like this one quite a bit, even though I usually take the other options. That's pretty much all there is for the main perk tree. Now for the prestige perk selection, I do take Resilience first. Medicae stims restore 40% more HP, mainly because having a better pickup economy on stims does help you out a lot. The Bulwark is a very tanky class, so having a 40% bonus heal on your stims means one stim is usually all you'll need in like the worst situation, so really good synergy there. Next perk here is Overcharge. Held and charge attack damage increases by 20%. This is one of the best melee perks in the entire game. It is a 20% multiplicative melee damage increase to the heaviest hitting attacks you do, including your power backstep. So really good on every melee weapon, but especially things like the Power Fist and Power Axe. And the final perks I take are Powerful Shot for a range damage increase of 20%, and Masterful Defense, ability charge restored by 1% for every blocked range attack, because this one is just a god tier CDR perk, and CDR is a very powerful effect in like pretty much any horde shooter, especially when your banner is as good as it actually is in this game. And that is pretty much all there is for the Sergeant Metaurus RP build, guys. You know, Sergeant Metaurus is a pretty damn cool character in 40k. Unfortunately, we do not have the Iron Halo with the Ultramarine symbol for him because Bulwark just doesn't have an Iron Halo. But, you know, I can live with that for now, and hopefully this build guide helped you. Hey guys, first Guardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Black Templar Chapter Banner support build for Space Marine 2 Patch 12. Now, the main idea of this build is using our banner to buff our teammates as long as possible, with things like Glory Shield, Inspiration, and also give them an easier time with their CHP recovery with a perk like Advanced Conditioning. Now, the weapon I've chosen for this build is the newly buffed Balanced Power Sword, now in Patch 12. All the balanced weapons got a base damage increase, and the Power Sword actually has 2 relic tier balance options, and of the 2, one of them is slower speed with a higher base damage, and the other one is a faster weapon overall with like slightly lower strength. Now, I do pick the faster one mainly because it just feels way better to use in my opinion. I think the speed helps out a lot, and the base damage loss is really not that substantial at all, but if you want to take this one, you definitely could, or you can even take the block or the fencing. It is up to you. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take Armored Strength first, moving here into the perk Master of Offense. After switching sword combat style, you deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. The cooldown is 10 seconds. Now on the Power Sword, you can swap your sword combat style mid-dodge, and that will usually put you immediately into a lunging attack, which gives you an opportunity for a Power Rake. And Power Rake is the heaviest hitting attack on the Power Sword anyways, and having a 20% buff for that is pretty nice. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength, and Perpetual Strength for a 10% melee damage increase, and then I pick up the perk Tranquility and Melee Onslaught. This weapon deals 10% more melee damage. Moving here into the perk Hard Target, while performing a light combo, you take 15% less range damage. Now, this is where our speed of 7+ actually comes to effect quite a bit. Having this extra speed really does help out with this range damage reduction and being able to actually pull this off while simultaneously doing damage. And the next perk here is Cutting Edge. Power Rake deals 50% more melee damage. If you're playing a Power Sword, you just take this perk. The one up here, Reeling Blow, is not only a worse effect, but also has a cooldown, and a 50% damage buff to your heaviest hitting attack is incredible. I do hope they rework the perk trees a little bit in this game, because like I don't think choices should be this obvious, but this one really is just that good. Next perk here is Extremis Slayer, up here into the perk Majoris Slayer, and finally Terminus Slayer for like a catch-all against the enemies you want to kill the most. And the final perk is up to you with Speed Restoration or Power Restoration for double contested health recovery in the respective stance. That's pretty much all there is for the Power Sword here. Now for the secondary weapon, you have quite a few choices. You could take the Relic Tier Heavy Bolt Pistol and the Ammo Reserve option like I did. I mainly take this because I simply hate fighting Zoanthropes all on my own with like a Plasma Pistol. This one just makes that way easier. The ammo economy is far better. It's also just way better for headshot damage because this one can't do that at all. Now, for the perk tree here, I do take Divine Might first, moving here into the perk Perpetual Penetration. Then I grab the perk Increased Capacity, Extended Magazine, and then I go into Death Strike. After killing a Majoris level or higher enemy in melee combat, you will deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Now, this will trigger off of a melee finisher on just a melee kill, so keep that in mind. And it's one of the best damaging perks on this entire thing anyways, which is kind of like the whole reason I go into the bottom tree in the first place. And this perk really is worth that much to me. Next perk here is Great Might, up here into the perk Discipline. When you have low ammo, you deal 25% more damage. This is just a free damage buff for using your gun, which happens all the time. This will actually trigger quite often, and when it does, it is very noticeable, so a really good perk here. Next perk here is Strong Finish, going to Headhunter, Gunstrike Reload, and of course Tactical Precision, because headshots dealing 20% more damage and losing headshot damage really is just all upside on this gun, because headshots are pretty much all you go for on like a heavy bolt pistol in the first place. And for the Plasma Pistol, if you want to take this, I would take the Rate of Fire variant because charge speed is everything. And for the perk tree, I would just set up this way. But that is up to you, and that's pretty much all there is for the secondary. Now for the Bulwark perk tree here, we do take Intimidating Aura first. A Perfect Time Parry deals AoE damage within a 5-meter radius. The cooldown is 5 seconds. This is one of the best perks in the entire game. It simply allows you to one combo parry Gunstrike any Majoris in Space Marine 2. It is really just that powerful. The AoE damage here is tremendous. It is one of the best perks for damage and really just defense in the game period. So pretty much always pick this up for like a top tier build, though Conviction and even Forward Momentum are not bad. Next perk here is Scramble Targeting. If you're surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you take 25% less damage from range attacks. This is just a free range damage reduction here, though I will say if you want to take Armor of Contempt, you will get more benefit out of this if you are brand new to the game, because a lot of players just like to hold their block for a while, and this will give you free damage on that, but Scramble Targeting is definitely better. Next perk here is Steel Within. When your health is less than 50%, you take 30% less health damage. A 30% health damage reduction while stacked with your base HP increase of 30% here is tremendous. I think Steel Within really is just that valuable in this game. Not having at least one source of damage reduction on this class really is noticeable, and this makes you way tankier. Though I will say, if you want to take Armor Reinforcement, you can also take this, because all armor in Space Marine 2 will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0, even from bosses, as long as there's any remaining. So this is still a really good option for survivability, though Steel Within will help you with like stun locks and stuff like that. Next perk here is Advanced Conditioning. Contested health fades 50% more slowly for all team members. This just helps out newer players a lot, I think. I think the biggest thing that newer players in Space Marine 2 tend to struggle with is managing CHP in this game, so having this will definitely help them out a lot. And we are a support build, so kind of a no-brainer here. The Focus Restoration is also very strong, because a 30-second drip feed of armor to your entire team will also help them out a ton. Next perk here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies with area of effect. This perk is just free damage, and it's actually really powerful on top of Glory Shield, because you have a 20% longer lasting banner on top of this. You will wipe out Minoris, you will deal tremendous damage to Majoris, Extremis, and even bosses. It really is one of the most undervalued perks in Space Marine 2 in my opinion. I pretty much always pick it up. Next perk here is Glory Shield. All team members in the banner's area of effect take 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. I love this perk. This perk is just way more fun to play with on the Bulwark than, say, Invariant Icon for me, because in my opinion, more banners is more fun, and this one gives you not only more banners because your cooldown is not being like increased like this perk would do, but you also have a longer lasting banner, which makes it more value per banner anyway. So really fun perk combo, and definitely my preferred. The next perk here is Inspiration. All team members in the banner's area of effect deal 20% more damage. This perk is just a nice little free damage increase for your entire team. I do like this one quite a bit with Glory Shield. Though I will say, if you want to have like a better revive option, you could take Rejuvenating Effect, but that is up to you. The final perk I take is Armor Advance. If you have armor remaining, you don't lose control of heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. This is just the only form of no knockback on this build, and since we're not taking the perk here, we take this one instead. But you know, if you want to take Defensive Mastery and like this perk, you could. All you have to do is like Shield Bash the Air to enable no knockback on this option, but you know, that is up to you. I'm just building it this way today, and that's pretty much all there is for the perk tree here. Now for the prestige perks here, I take Resilience first. Medicae stims restore 40% more HP. This just helps out the pickup economy of your stims quite a bit, and we also don't have the healing perk on this build, so having more HP from our stims does help us out a lot. Next perk here is pretty much mandatory in my opinion, Overcharge. Held in charge attack damage increases by 20%. This is one of the best melee perks in the entire game. It's a 20% multiplicative melee damage increase for like the heaviest hitting attacks in Space Marine 2, so pretty much always pick this up. And the next perk here is Powerful Shot for range damage increase of 20%. Into the perk Masterful Defense, ability charge restored by 1% for every blocked range attack. This is just one of the best CDR perks in Space Marine 2 as well. If you are fighting Chaos, all you have to do is just hold your shield up against a Soul Reaper Cannon Terminator, and you will get like 100% of your banner back from the volley. Really powerful. Also very good against Devourers on Tyranids, so pretty much always pick this up if you're using a build with a shield and not a Thunderhammer. And that is pretty much all there is for this build, guys. I think that chapter banner support builds are like the most entertaining reason to play Bulwark in the first place, and the Power Sword is also still a very cool weapon, even though it's like a little bit behind other options. But hopefully this build guide helped you. And hey guys, first regards from here, I'll be talking about a heroic Thunderhammer build for the Bulwark class in Space Marine 2 patch 12.1. Now, a lot of people love the heroic Thunderhammer in this game, though I will be honest, in my opinion, this is actually one of the weaker options for the Thunderhammer currently, mainly because the balance and block have so much damage at the moment that they really do take full advantage of the moveset of this weapon. But that being said, being able to deploy shock areas around your fully charged attacks, that is pretty good, and I will be building around that today. Now, the heroic perk effect here is called Electrified Thunderclap. Fully charged attacks will leave behind a shock grenade effect. This is a bit of a false description because this weapon will dispense a shock grenade on any level of charge for your aftershock. It will also only work on your aftershock, and what that means is if you take Aftershock Improved for an additional smash, you will get 2 shock areas instead of 1, and on top of that, all you have to do is just like charge it up for any amount of time, so actually a lot better than it sounds initially. Now, the first perk I take here in the full perk tree is Perpetual Strength. Moving here into the perk Fast Preparation, Aftershock preparation time is reduced by 30%. It doesn't really matter what variant of the Thunderhammer you're taking, you pretty much always pick up this perk because Aftershock prep time is just mandatory in my opinion, because Aftershock is like the best attack on this weapon besides Ground Slam anyways, so definitely grab this one. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. And then we pick up the combo here with Shattering Impact and Seismic Chain. Seismic Chain gives you an additional Ground Slam after your initial one, and this perk just gives you a better AoE radius with your Ground Slam here. So the big thing about Ground Slam is this will not give you a shock grenade effect off Electrified Thunderclap, just keep that in mind, but still a very good thing to have because the 8 speed here does make this come out very quickly. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength, down here to the perk after Aftershock for a 10% melee damage increase after you hit an enemy with your Aftershock. You do hit enemies with Aftershock all the time with this weapon, no matter what, so definitely pick this up. Next perk here is Kill Streak, into the perk Aftershock Improved for an additional smash for an additional shock area, and the final 2 perks are Minoru Slayer and Majora Slayer, and that is pretty much all there is for the setup on the melee weapon. Now, for my secondary weapon, I do take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol. I think this is currently the best bolt secondary in the game, mainly because of the heroic perk effect here, No Help is Coming. Shooting an enemy with the Elite Scream status stops from calling for reinforcements, and headshots will kill in 1 shot. This perk pretty much eliminates the most obnoxious reinforcement calls in this game, and I really have to say, like, this perk is super underrated. You don't realize how many enemies call for reinforcements throughout your game until you play without this perk, because once you have this gun for long enough, you will definitely miss it when you swap to like a different option. So for the perk tree here, I just go all the way down the bottom tree. I really do think this is just the best way to do it initially, because this has ammo capacity, damage, and then one of the best perks here with Death Strike. And you go up here for even more options like Discipline for more damage, into Strong Finish, Headhunter, Gunstrike Reload, and Tactical Precision. I do think on the Bulwark class, this is the best overall setup because you really can't take advantage of things like Able Damage very much because your class ability is just not up remotely as much as say like an Assault or even like a Tactical at times. So I think this is the best setup overall. Now for these other secondary options here, you could take the Plasma Pistol Rate of Fire variant. I would set it up this way, though I will say fighting Zoanthropes with this weapon does kind of suck, which is why I usually skip over it, but if you want this for like Chaos or something, you can definitely do that. Neo Volkite is probably the weakest option because the CHP recovery here is not quite as strong, and the Bolt Pistol Firepower variant is actually pretty good, and I'd probably set it up this way. And that's pretty much all there is for the secondary. Now for the Bulwark perk tree, I do take the perk Intimidating Aura first. A perfect time parry deals AoE damage within a 5-meter radius. The cooldown is 5 seconds. This perk is just incredible. It's one of the best perks in the entire game. Being able to obliterate an enemy in 1 combo off a parry gunstrike with this perk is absurd. On a fencing weapon especially, you have such a fat parry window that triggering this over and over is incredibly easy. You pretty much always pick this up, though I will say that Conviction is also quite strong on some builds. Next perk here is Shock and Awe. Enemies in the shock area take 25% more damage. We are using the Heroic Thunderhammer, so pretty much always grab this one for that build. And the next perk selection might shock you. Sorry, no puns allowed here, but the point is that Steel Within is a much better perk than the perk up here, Defensive Advantage. I do skip over this one because a 30-second cooldown on a 5-second shock area on a parry or block, this perk just kind of sucks. Like, you're already getting so many shock areas off your Heroic Thunderhammer. This one is super redundant. There are way better shock effects in the game, like Emergency Countermeasures and our Heroic Thunderhammer perk, though I do take Steel Within instead because having tankiness here is just way better for your survivability, and you're not really giving up anything in my opinion. Next perk here is Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all team members automatically restore 1 armor segment. This is just the main form of armor regen on this build. You could take Advanced Conditioning if you want, or you could even like just take this perk and Armor Reinforcement for doubled up armor regen here, but I think Steel Within is just a better combo of this perk, so I'm taking it here today. Next perk here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies in this area of effect. This perk is just another like pseudo shock area around your banner. This isn't actually like a shock area effect, but it does do the same thing basically, which is kill every Minotaurus in like a 5-mile radius around your banner. Okay, not literally a 5-mile radius, but you get what I'm saying. Your banner basically becomes a free shock nade. This is free damage against Minotaurus, Majoris, Extremis, and even bosses, so a really good option here. And the next perk here is just an enabler for that, which is Glory's Shield. All team members in the banner's area of effect take 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. This just gives you more value out of your banner like all around, especially for purity of purpose. I honestly think this perk is way more fun to play with than the perk down here, Invigorating Icon. Obviously, getting full HP back is super powerful in this game, but I think more banners is just way more entertaining, so I pick this one up most of the time. Next perk here is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunderhammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%, you do not lose 12 heavy hits, and you can't be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is the main form of no knockback on this build because we will be taking the signature perk here, Emergency Countermeasure, so having this is very easy to trigger because a Thunderhammer Pommel Smash, if you're unaware, that is simply your lunging attack on your Thunderhammer, so really easy to trigger over and over, though be aware you cannot trigger this perk over again until the initial 10 seconds are up. So like there's like a little bit of downtime, but just be careful with that. Next perk here is Emergency Countermeasure. When your armor is fully depleted, a reserve shock grenade automatically detonates at your position. The cooldown is 45 seconds. Now in patch 11, this got a buff to its cooldown here where it used to be 90 seconds on the cooldown, now it is 45. It is way better now, and honestly perfectly synergizes with the Thunderhammer shock builds we're picking up here today. Now for our prestige perks, I do take the perk Resilience first, medications for 40% more HP, into the perk here Overcharge. Held and charge attack damage increases by 20%. This is a 20% multiplicative melee damage increase, and even though the base damage of our fencing hammer here is not that high, this perk is just so damn good that we pick it up pretty much all the time. Final two perks here are Powerful Shot and Standard Bearer because Masterful Defense does nothing with a Thunderhammer because you don't have a shield, and Powerful Shot is a free range damage increase, and Standard Bearer gives you invulnerability for 2 seconds on a banner, and that's actually enough time to charge up an Aftershock and not get knocked over, so a really good synergy here as well. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. I think the Heroic Thunderhammer is pretty fun. I do hope they buff up the damage a little bit because right now the balanced Thunderhammer is kind of nuts and the Block Hammer's been good for quite a while, but hopefully this build guide helped you. Hey guys, first Regardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Power Axe Shield Bash build for the Bulwark class in Space Marine 2 patch 12.1. Now, the Power Axe is one of the strongest weapons in Space Marine 2 currently, maybe not as strong as the Power Fist, but still a top tier option, and the Bulwark Shield Bash build with perks like Concussive Force, Merciless Resolve, and Forward Momentum. These have been incredible options since they got buffed way back when. We'll be building around that today. Now, for my melee weapon, I did take the Block Power Axe, mainly because block charges do affect your Shield Bash on this build, and Shield Bashing is like 99% of what we'll be doing anyways, so a really good synergy there. Now for the perk tree here, we pretty much go all melee perks like any balanced or block version usually would go, but we start off with Perpetual Strength for 5% melee damage increase, moving into the perk Coup de Grace. The last strike of a light combo deals 25% more damage. Now on this build, you really don't use your light combos at all, but we do pick this up because we do want Perpetual Strength first. It also helps us go into other perk options like Perpetual Strength and Perpetual Strength again for a 10% melee damage increase. Moving here into the perk Counterattack, down into the perk Riposte. Overhead strike damage after performing a power backstep is doubled. Now, this one is a very strong perk effect. Even on this build where we are usually shield bashing, it still helps us out a ton, so we do pick this up. And next perk here is Hard Target. While performing a light combo, you take 15% less range damage. Moving into the perk Tactical Retreat for more power backstep damage, because power backstep damage is just free damage in a lot of cases. And up here, Power Wave, it just makes it so our power backstep wave has a wider angle, which allows us to hit more enemies for full damage. So definitely pick this one up as well whenever you pick up the perk Tactical Retreat. The final perk here is Cleaver for a 10% melee damage buff against Majoris and higher enemies, because this is just kind of a catch-all against the enemies you want to damage the most, so definitely grab this one as well. And that's pretty much all there is for the Power Axe tree. Now for the secondary weapon, I do take a heavy bolt pistol, mainly because I despise fighting Zoanthropes and Neurothropes with a plasma pistol, Neovolkite, or standard bolt pistol. The standard bolt pistol isn't the worst option ever for this, but the heavy bolt pistol on the ammo reserve option, I think this one just makes my life 10 times easier, so I do prefer this. Though if you want to pick up a heroic variant of this, or even the plasma pistol up here, you can do that. That is up to you. Now for the perk tree on this, I do build it this way with Divine Might into Perpetual Penetration, increased capacity, extended magazine, Death Strike, which gives you a 25% buff for 10 seconds on a Majoris execute or melee kill, so a really good option here. Into the perk Great Might, Discipline for 25% more damage on low ammo, which is actually very substantial. And next perk is Strong Finish, Headhunter, Gunstrike Reload, and of course Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, and non-headshot damage it decreases by 10%, because headshot damage is still pretty much all that matters on any bolt pistol in the game, so definitely pick this up. And the main reason I skip over perks like able damage on this build is because the chapter banner does not come out remotely enough to take like full advantage of this perk, unlike things like Vanguard on the grapnel or the jump pack on the assault class. So that's pretty much the only reason I build it this way, and that's all there is for the secondary option. Now for the Bulwark perk tree, we just go for all the Shield Bash perks. Number 1, Forward Momentum. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunderhammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 30% for 10 seconds. Now, this perk is a 30% additive melee damage buff, so not quite as good as like an Overcharge perk that's a 20% multiplicative damage buff, but still pretty damn strong here because you can reapply it over and over. And this one will apply simultaneously with the perk over here for another 15% buff on top of 10 seconds of no knockback. So a really good option here for us because we are using the Shield Bash. And if you're unaware, the Bulwark can animation cancel into a Shield Bash over and over again, because every single time you block with your shield, you will be able to just animation cancel whatever you're doing and immediately go back into another Shield Bash that you will see in the gameplay. The next perk here is Scramble Targeting for a 25% range damage reduction while surrounded by 5 or more enemies. This is just a free range damage reduction and by far the best option in this column. And the next perk here is Steel Within. When your health is less than 50%, you take 30% less health damage. DR in this game, or damage reduction, is incredibly potent in Space Marine 2, so definitely grab this one. I think this one's definitely better than the perk down here, Armor Reinforcement, even, because with a base HP increase of 30% that the Bulwark has on his starting perk, your effective HP goes through the roof with this perk active as well. Next perk here is Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all team members automatically restore 1 armor segment. This is just a God tier damage cap perk. The way that armor works in Space Marine 2 is that any incoming melee attack will do no damage no matter what, even from bosses, as long as you have any amount of armor remaining. And on top of that, even range attacks do have a bit of a damage cap from armor. So having a drip feed of this is very valuable and helps out a ton for teammates like the Tactical that don't have any base armor regen. Now, the next perk we take here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies in this area of effect. This is just a value perk for your banner. The fact that this will pretty much wipe out Minoris, deal significant damage to Majoris, Extremis, and even bosses makes it the most valuable perk in this column. Rapid regeneration would be really good in this game if it didn't have like a reduction in your time on your banner. Hopefully they buff this one day, and the Concussive Force perk, or should be Focus Strength perk here, is just not very strong at all, even on a Shield Bash build, so I would definitely pick this up. Next perk here is Concussive Force. Shield Bash deals 200% more damage, Shield Rush deals 100% more damage, and your Thunderhammer Pommel Smash does some extra stuff. It doesn't really matter for this build. Now, the Shield Bash dealing 200% more damage, that is the main takeaway of this perk. We are going for a Shield Bash build, so kind of a no-brainer to pick this one up, and the damage you put out with your Shield Bash with this perk active is tremendous. Next perk here is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunderhammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%. You do not lose control of heavy hits, and you can't be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is a Shield Bash buff perk, like I said before, so we obviously take this. And on top of that, this is the main form of no knockback on this build, so definitely grab it for that reason alone. Final perk here is Defensive Mastery. A perfect time parry or block instantly incapacitates a Majoris or Extremis level enemy. The cooldown is 90 seconds. Now, since we do not have Intimidating Aura, having a parry insta-kill perk here is very nice for this build. And even though you have a 90-second cooldown on this, being able to auto-remove like a Lictor, Ravener, or Melee Terminator, that is top tier in this game and a very powerful option overall, so definitely pick this one up. Now, for the Prestige perk list, I do take Resilience first. Medicae Sims restore 40% more HP. On this build, you do not have Invigorating Icon or like any healing perk really, so having this does make your pickup economy for Sims far better. The next perk here is Overcharge. Held in charge attack damage increases by 20%. Like I said before, this is a 20% multiplicative melee damage buff for your power backstep, whirlwind attacks, and stuff like that. A really powerful melee perk in the game, probably the single strongest if I'm being honest, and I would pretty much always pick this up as well for that reason. The final 2 perks I grab are Powerful Shot for 20% bonus range damage and Masterful Defense, which says ability charge restored by 1% for every blocked range attack. This is one of the best CDR perks in the entire game, and pretty much any build that requires a shield or uses a shield in any way, you will pick this up on, and that is pretty much all there is for this build, guys. Now, I was rocking a Deathwing outfit here. I know it's not quite entirely accurate because we are not a Terminator, and maybe the color is like not tan enough, but I tried my best, okay? And that's pretty much all I have to say in this one. one. And if you want to ask me questions about the game or just come hang out, you can find me live here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description alongside a link to my community Discord. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye.